Hello and welcome to the TechBytes audiocast. My name's Tim and I'm from the TechBytes blogazine, and with me is Dr. Roy Shestowitz from the TechBytes website.
It's Friday night and I'm gonna get sauce. I fought the troll and the troll lost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. He tried to boss me and was outbossed. I fought the troll and the troll lost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. Underneath his Freebird Bridge, hoping goats will cross. Quoting Ashcroft and Tom Ridge, I fought the
Hello and welcome to the TechBytes audiocast episode 37. It's Monday the 4th of April 2011, and we've got an extra show for you today. It's a bit of a novelty since we've all been together since the last show, so we're putting out another quick show for you tonight, and you can thank two things. Firstly, you can thank my wife for giving me permission to help record the show tonight, but secondly, you can thank the soaps on British television, because from 7 o'clock onwards until about 10 o'clock, my wife sits in front of the television watching a combination of Emmerdale, EastEnders, Coronation Street and Hell's Kitchen. So tonight we've got a bit more time for you, and we're going to cover a few topics that we didn't speak about yesterday, mainly because the discussion that we had lasted a lot longer than expected. We've also got a couple of tracks for you tonight, some Creative Commons music. So what we'll do, we've got some hot off the press news, or very new news from the world of Microsoft, and I think Roy's going to start that off for us. So Roy, over to you.
Well, we sort of agreed it would be reasonable to start with some discussion about the news, which comes in the form of a company promoting itself by putting out a survey, an annual survey, which it has run for 2 years, wherein it asks employees of companies to rank their CEO for, things like, do you trust your... I'm not sure, do you know the actual term they use to define the acceptance of the CEO, or that kind of changes how the results would be. Do you guys know that?
The term?
Yeah, because depending, well, basically, this is not the only firm that's doing that, I should emphasize. Several of them try to rank the CEOs based on the opinions of employees. Now, there isn't just one company doing that, and the way they ask the question may change how many people give a positive answer and a negative answer. So how they actually rank this by giving a percent of number that kind of approve the CEO or accept the CEO or agree with the CEO. I think the approval is the accepted terms in this case. But in any case, I've been following this for a few years, and this is one company where Microsoft, as far as I know, was ranked the lowest in terms of approval of the CEO. So if you go through staff and you cycle through them and you kind of ask them, do you trust your CEO? Do you approve your CEO? In some cases, companies like Cisco would score something like 90% plus. Everybody really agrees with the CEO. Now in Microsoft, I think they were last in this specific example, and I think the approval rate was something like 40%, which means that less than half of Microsoft employees actually approve of their existing top. Yeah, and
it was 40%, and the next lowest after Microsoft was, I believe, eBay at 46%. So
yeah, it is quite a gap, and it does make you wonder. But one of the things that's really important here, they have to ask the employees without the presence of without the awareness of the company itself. Obviously you have peer pressure if you're being asked by the company itself what you think of the boss, so people will be affected by that. And also it depends how you ask the questions. Like I said, I think that the approval of Ballmer, based on what I saw, and I don't think there is the ability to fake or to push ball in this case, the approval of Ballmer within the board was something like 90-something%. But when people are actually present and they have to basically approve their colleague or testify for or against the guy, you'd expect usually, unless the person is really there to destroy the company, the person will usually get a vote of confidence from his colleague in the board of directors or something of that sort. Mm-hmm. But
I could visualise Lord Vetinari doing that in Discworld, saying, "Oh, we've got a review coming on. We need to lay some people off. Oh, by the way, what do you think of the boss?"
Yes.
And of course, everyone's going to get 100% approval rating. But no, I think a lot of this is the longer term that person's been in charge, the longer the time that person's been in charge, the more kind of history they've got against them, especially if the company have had more successful in terms of money times. I mean, I suppose if you're an employee of a big company and you've released 2 or 3 sort of products that have kind of failed, but you know yourself that if they are pretty good products, they've just had a bit of a bad rap, then you can understand, well, hey, that's just luck sometimes. That happens. We're not doing anything really that bad. We're heading in roughly the right direction. Just keep faith and things will turn round. I think the problem that Microsoft have got is that their employees know that even the most diehard employees must know that the wolves are at the door, that their best years are well behind them, that maybe they did produce really good products years ago, but for the last 5, 6, 7 years, Microsoft have been a shadow of that, and they're getting panned all over the place. They can't compete in so many different areas, new areas opening up. They failed in portable devices. The only area that they've arguably had a success in, and it's cost them a lot of money to do it, is gaming, is the Xbox. And that's, I don't think...
They still lose money on that.
I mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They've had a success as far as user numbers and all that's concerned, but it's cost them a lot of money to do it.
Not even that, to be honest. Depends where you measure these things. If you measure it in the UK or in the US, it probably would be reasonably good. But if you look in Japan, or obviously if you look in places like Europe or Asia in general, I don't have the numbers at hand, but for what I can recall before, if you look at existing sales and if you look at past sales and aggregate sales, Microsoft was never truly successful. And it also sold the thing at a loss. It basically sold them at negative prices as far as production costs and repair costs and everything is concerned. So well, they could sell you lots of machines. They could sell it to you like £100 per piece, and then brag about numbers. But what does it mean to the bottom line? Xbox franchise lost 6 billion or 7 billion at some stage around 2007. So I'm not sure if I don't think they ever made up for it.
I think if we just put I'll just briefly say so we can put the gaming issue to one side. But I think if we could just eliminate, if people forgot or eliminated from history the Red Ring of Death, then probably Microsoft would have had a very successful product with the 360. I think myself and Roy discussed a few shows ago about the figures that come in, which suggested that Sony had been selling 2 million more units for the past 2 years than Microsoft had. So I think what prevented the Xbox from being a success, although it was a success because there are quite a few users, to say the least, that like and enjoy the product. I think what stopped it from becoming a big success was the Red Ring of Death and all the problems that they had with the machines in that respect. So what I just want to say about Steve Ballmer, I mean, I can only go off what I've seen on the telly. I've never met the man in person. I can go off a few interviews I've seen on the on BBC One or ITV and some of the things I've seen on YouTube. But he comes across to me, and this is just my view, but he comes across like a used car salesman, and I don't think he's a particularly good figurehead or ever has been for Microsoft. I think every time I saw him on the telly, it was used car salesman came to mind, and not a very good one at that. He was pushy. He appeared to me to be aggressive. He didn't appear to listen to the questions that were being asked of him. Sort of a hybrid politician type salesman, and not a very good one. And I predicted. I predicted earlier this year that he was, in fact last year, that he'd be gone by the middle of this year, because he claims, according to Computer World report, that he plans to retire in 2018. And it doesn't seem that Computer World have that much faith in him lasting that long. I still stand by my mid this year where he'll announce his retirement.
I think that he does come across as a slimy used car salesman. I don't know why that is, but he definitely does come across like that. But
his dad's job. His history in the family. His dad used to work for Ford.
I've actually got a little career move suggestion. See if Stevie Boy is kicked out of the Redmond offices. There's a sport in Scotland called the Highland Games. It's a kind of collection thing, and they've got a sport in that called tossing the caber, which is basically a telegraph pole. And I mean, it's not so much of a different technique from tossing a chair to tossing a cable, to tossing a caber. So if Stevie wants to turn his hand at that, sure, there'll be